Now, President Trump is back in London for a state visit, and he has some choice words for the limited TV offerings in the UK. Now, this morning, the president first fired off a pair of tweets attacking mayors in London, Sadiq Khan, before landing, and then decided to go after CNN's parent company. Now, here's his tweets. Quote, just arrived in the United Kingdom. The only problem is that CNN is the primary source of news, available from the US. After watching it for a short while, I turned it off. Translation, of course, he basically saw CNN, saw that they said something negative and usually very likely to be true about President Trump. He got mad and raged like a little baby and turned the TV off. Sad. In fact, he said, quote, all negative and so much fake news. Very bad for US. Big ratings drop. Ratings drop? What? What are you, Nielsen? What are you talking about? Why doesn't owner AT&T do something? Now that's important, right? So now he's like, what? He's asking AT&T, why don't you do something about CNN? Are you serious? You serious? No, he adds, I believe that if people stopped using or subscribing to AT&T, they would be forced to make big changes at CNN, which is dying in the ratings anyway. It is so unfair with such bad fake news. Why wouldn't they act when the world watches CNN? It gets a false picture of USA. Sad. This is the president. President of the United States. Let that sink in for a minute. I know. We're all used to it now. I get it. We've been here for almost 4 years now. But this is not normal. This is the president of the United States basically pressuring a company to, a parent company, to change their coverage of the president. Now, I don't know about you, but you would think that this would be, I don't know, unconstitutional, as you have the head of the government of the United States saying you need to be more favorable to me or else. Now, what's the or else that I speak of? Trump reportedly had pressured his former economic advisor, Gary Cohn, to order the Justice Department to block AT&T's acquisition of CNN parent company Time Warner. Now, that was a business deal. That was a merger, right? Now, me personally, I don't think that they should have been able to merge anyway, right? You know why? Because I think media consolidation ends up hurting free speech and actually hurts press freedom in the long run. If you only have one or two companies that are disseminating all the information, then you can kind of control the narrative with, for example, pro-corporate talking points. Now, I believe in a free and open press, which means lots of different viewpoints. But all those different viewpoints, of course, backed up by factual information. That is not what Fox News does. Okay? And so I'm not saying that Fox News is great or fantastic or really a fair press. They're basically, but they should be allowed to be there, of course, because they offer news from a conservative viewpoint. I have a progressive viewpoint. This is news for progressive viewpoints. It's fair to have me. It's also fair to have an entity like Fox News. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't. And it's also fair to have the establishment viewpoint of CNN. It's not fair to have only those two choices, Republican talking points and establishment talking points. That's what's not fair. And unfortunately, that's what media consolidation actually leads to. And so I'm against that in principle. That said, Donald Trump wanted to oppose the merger because he hates CNN and the coverage. The fake news CNN make me so angry because they say bad things about me. They block their merger. Gary Cohn, you need to block their merger because they're being very mean. No, you can't do that. And by the way, Cohn, like I've heard that many other advisors have done, ignored the president's request. Why? Because, look, he has a long history of asking people to do things that are either impossible, which in this case would be part of that, and illegal, which would be the other part. It would be illegal to do that on these grounds. So, no, you can't do that. And so, of course, like everything, illegal or unconstitutional or impossible to do, he just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, we'll get to that right away, Donald, sir. Sure, absolutely. And then he just didn't. Now, as for his claim that people who watch CNN get a false view of the United States, no. I think they get the view fairly right. Donald Trump is the literal laughingstock of the United States, and no, the laughingstock of the world. Why? It's because he's a disaster. He's also really, really dumb. Now, here's the thing. So this whole rant is centered on I can't watch Fox and Friends because there is no Fox and Friends in London. It doesn't get carried. It doesn't show up. Now, here's the irony about this, right? The reason that it is no longer broadcast in Britain, Fox and Friends itself, is not because state censorship, not because the socialist UK government, which is laughable, by the way, calling them that, has banned Fox News just because it's terrible. No, they took it off the air because it had super low ratings. Oops. Oh, sad. See, they figured out that Fox News is basically Republican trash fan fiction, basically. And nobody in Britain wanted to watch it because it literally is fake news. But here we have the fake news president complaining that he's cut off from his preferred method of ass kissing because, let's be honest, that's what Fox and Friends does. It's fan service. And he's cut off from that because Britons are too smart to watch Fox News. The ultimate irony, of course, is that it's not as if you can't find a way to watch Fox and Friends from the UK. There are plenty of Britons who are able to access those channels or those ways to be able to watch that channel. If he were smart enough, he would actually be able to get some way to watch his favorite shows even while in the UK, even while abroad. But he is just too dumb. Very stable genius, indeed. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.